Rumors regarding the Iranian Supreme Leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, secretly traveling to Russia for medical treatment are spreading at a remarkable pace, despite the absence of any official confirmation. What is striking is not the content of the rumor itself, but the way it has been rapidly amplified across both Middle Eastern and Western media. The sources cited are fragmented, lack independent verification, and are even contradictory, yet they remain sufficient to generate a powerful wave of speculation. Observers suggest that this phenomenon reflects a familiar reality in conflict contexts. Information vacuums are always the ideal environment for rumors to thrive. When a figure as powerful as the Iranian Supreme Leader does not appear in public or speak directly, communicating only through written messages, any unusual signs are easily interpreted negatively or sensationalized. Some analyses also point out that the proliferation of these rumors is not entirely groundless. In the context of war and geopolitical confrontation, information is no longer merely factual data but has become a part of the competition for influence. Therefore, the question is not just whether the Iranian leader has actually gone to Russia for treatment, but why unverified information can so quickly shape public perception to such an extent. From the intense viral nature of these rumors, the information landscape surrounding the status of the Iranian Supreme Leader gradually reveals a notable characteristic: contradiction and ambiguity stemming from the official sources themselves. Middle Eastern regional newspapers have proposed the hypothesis that he may have been taken to Russia for treatment, but this remains limited to intelligence sources or speculation. Conversely, some US officials have not confirmed this scenario, leaning instead toward the assessment that he was injured, possibly even in serious condition. Meanwhile, the Iranian side adamantly denies everything, asserting that the leader remains healthy and is actively governing the country. Three streams of information, three different directions of interpretation, yet the common thread is that no source has provided enough authentic evidence to be truly convincing. This leaves the entire story in a state of limbo, where every conclusion is merely an assumption. It is precisely this uncertainty that has paved the way for a series of signs to be interpreted with suspicion. The leader's prolonged absence from public view, especially amidst military tensions, immediately became a detail under intense scrutiny. The fact that messages are only delivered in written form and read back on television rather than through live images or video further heightens the sense of a lack of transparency. Even images claimed to be new, appearing in state media, have been questioned for their timeliness, showing signs of editing or the reuse of old photos. Individual details may not be enough to reach a conclusion, but when combined, they create a significant information gap, and in such an environment, rumors become an almost inevitable reaction. From a media perspective, this phenomenon is not merely a spontaneous spread, but carries all the hallmarks of an information war. Rumors, in this case, are not just products of a lack of verification, but can also be used as a tool to influence perception. When the image of a leader is cast into a state of instability, injured, incapacitated, or even missing, their prestige and symbolic power are eroded. This affects not only international public opinion, but can also impact domestic morale, particularly in a wartime context. Simultaneously, two opposing information systems are operating in parallel. On one side, Western media and statements from the US side continuously emphasize the possibility of a weakened Iranian leadership, thereby reinforcing an image of disorder or loss of control. On the other side, the Iranian government maintains a consistent message that the leader is still healthy, running the country normally, and that all rumors are false. These two narratives are not just different, but directly confrontational, with each side attempting to shape how the public understands reality. This is the essence of a cognitive war, where information is no longer neutral but becomes a strategic weapon. However, when stripping away the media layer and looking at the power structure, a more important question emerges: does the absence of one individual truly shake the system? The answer, according to many analyses, is not necessarily. In Iran's political model, power is not only concentrated in one individual, but is also maintained through rigid institutions, particularly the Revolutionary Guard, IRGC, and the security military apparatus. These are organizations capable of high-level independent operation, especially during wartime, where strategic decisions are often implemented through collective mechanisms or pre-prepared plans. This opens up another possibility. Even if the leader does not appear frequently, the system can continue to function without significant interruption. Power, in this case, may be more decentralized than absolutely centralized. The Supreme Leader still holds the symbolic and directional role, but actual implementation may lie in the hands of the structures below. This is a feature not uncommon in nations with highly centralized political systems that operate with institutional depth. From there, the core issue gradually shifts. Instead of focusing solely on the individual status of the leader, one must question the nature of power. Does power truly reside in one person or in an entire system designed to maintain stability even when that individual is not clearly present? In the current context, where information is tightly controlled and media channels are in constant confrontation, finding a definitive answer is not easy. But that very ambiguity reflects a deeper reality. In the age of information warfare, what matters is not just the truth, but how the truth is presented, concealed, or replaced by different versions of itself. When placing all these informational contradictions and data gaps into a broader context, the absence of the Iranian Supreme Leader is no longer just a question mark, but begins to take the shape of a calculated strategic choice. In a conflict environment where airstrikes directly targeting leadership have become a reality, limiting public appearances first and foremost a security measure. A figure in a position like Mojtaba Khamenei, if appearing too early or too clearly, would immediately become a priority target. Therefore, hiding during a sensitive phase is not a sign of weakness, but may be a way to prolong political survival and ensure the continuity of the system. Beyond the element of personal safety, the absence can also be utilized as a tool for image building. In a context where reports of injuries are widespread, not appearing inadvertently reinforces a different narrative: the leader as a victim of war, one who has survived an attack but continues to lead resiliently from the shadows. For a society with a political religious foundation like Iran, this image is not disadvantageous. It may even increase legitimacy and evoke a sense of solidarity. Silence, in this case, is not a void, but a space for symbolism to form. At a strategic level, controlling information regarding the location and status of the leader also means keeping vital variables hidden from the adversary. In modern warfare, where intelligence and precision strikes play a decisive role, any data related to high-level leadership can become a target for exploitation. Not appearing, not sending direct signals, and even allowing multiple contradictory hypotheses to exist can leave the adversary in a state of uncertainty. When the actual situation cannot be clearly determined, all strategic calculations must be based on assumptions, which reduces the effectiveness of military or political decisions. From this perspective, the absence is no longer a weakness that needs explaining, but can be understood as part of an overall tactic. It simultaneously protects the individual leader, creates flexible space for the system to operate, and contributes to disrupting the flow of external information. In a confrontation where every message can become a tool, saying nothing is sometimes the most effective way to control the narrative. Therefore, returning to the initial question about the rumors of the Iranian leader going to Russia for treatment, the point of interest is not whether the rumor is true or false. To date, there is no authentic evidence showing that Iran has sent its leader abroad for treatment. Everything remains at the level of speculation, based on indirect sources and unverified signs. But the true value of the story lies in what it reflects. First, it is the level of lack of information transparency in a crisis context. When official channels do not provide enough data or provide it in a limited way, the public will fill the void with speculation themselves. Second, it is the increasingly fierce information warfare environment, where each side competes not only with military might, but also with the ability to shape perception. Rumors, in this case, are not just a byproduct, but a part of the game. From all these factors, it is evident that the focus of the story has shifted. The issue is no longer whether the Iranian leader is injured or if he truly appeared in Moscow. What is more important is who holds control over the narrative about him and how that story is spread, distorted, or reinforced in the public mind. In a world where information is both a tool and a battlefield, power lies not only in reality, but also in the ability to define that reality.